Alright, y'all, welcome back to Anime Savants, and this week I am Nia.
Ooh, this week I'm Inuyasha.
Oh my goodness, that deadbeat. Oh goodness. You know,
there's a clip going around from the new series where he meets his daughter for the first time. And like I had to like stop watching not because anything wrong with it, but because like, oh man, now I'm getting like the adult feels about like meeting your kids. Like, ah, fuck, I am old. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, it was cute.
I just saw a meme going around that his dad and his brother were hotter than him because they were full demon, and he's uglier because he's half human.
I mean, that kind of is what
and
it's
it is.
True. It's not true. A lie.
Because they showed what the dad looks like in like human form, and I was like, yeah, he is hot. He's hot.
Of course they're gonna draw that man hot. Come on.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah. And then you look at Inuyasha and you're like, oh damn, nigga, yeah, you really did.
Yeah, he's got like, you know, scrunched up head, like his hair's all over the place. Like Sesshomaru was like a model out of a goddamn couture catalog.
And they could, you know what? At the rate that people have been going, because you got like lightning or whatever. Anyway, that's like, I'm pretty sure they probably used that in some way. All right, so we only talked about Spy X Family, y'all. So what did you think?
Oh, my heart grows to the size of an island.
So I heard that there was original content with this one, right?
Now, if there is, I wasn't reading the manga close enough to recall exactly what pieces. It all kind of fit to me. It may be the stuff to do with like the post like foiling the robbery with the grandmother. But I just felt like the episode altogether was this episode is a closer encapsulation to like what most of the series is like. The next one that's coming up is probably like will show kind of where when the tension gets ramped up, because the structure of Spy X Family is take a relatively normal sort of like parent child stressful moment that you're used to, or a stressful family moment, and then add all of the weird paranoia and comedic stress from the point of view of like an assassin and a spy and a psychic and some over-the-top characters that they interact with. Like, this is like their version of a of like the shonen fight coming up. So you see both sides, like more of the slice of life, getting to know each other, become a family type episode, and then you have the more stressful, event-oriented combat episode, but there's no real combat. It's
in the preview it looked like he's about to mop somebody.
It looks that way. That is true. Yes, it does look that way.
And I think that's the headmaster that I saw. I was like, oh, that nigga looks like he's a trip.
And there's some other supporting characters as well, which if you like take their on-screen depiction and compare it to like how we might see a particularly strict teacher or a crazy principal in real life, like to take that and then like amp it up to 11, because obviously this is all very silly. You know, the situation they're trying to get in between there. So it's interesting. But as far as this episode goes, slow down pace. Kind of focused on the new dynamic, the home dynamic,
which is so wholesome,
right? As well as like studying for this entrance exam or this entrance interview, which I thought was really funny when Anya in the beginning would like give a bunch of very literal answers to the things that she does, like, oh, my dad locks me at home and makes me watch TV all day. I was like, that does sound pretty bad. And a bunch of other stuff. And then now we got more of the quirkiness of like how she is death obsessed or murder obsessed.
And I did not get that last episode. Like this time I'm like, oh yo, like she enjoys this shit. Like,
so she's just as weird about like killing as Lloyd is about the spy game and paranoia, right? Because like Lloyd approaches every problem first as a spy, and then it's through the circumstance that he kind of either mellows out or maybe takes a different, stab, no pun intended, at the problem, a more normal thing, right? Because like today on this episode, I think we're recording on the 25th, so the episode dropped on Sunday, right? The 24th.
No. Oh wait, what episode? Spy Family?
Was it the 24th?
It was the 23rd. 23rd Saturday.
So I watched it. I watched it today, and but on the episode prior to this, or the couple episodes prior, you kind of saw that his spy first approach would always kind of run into the opposition of the real world, and then he would like come back and be like, okay, maybe I need to do this in a more normal way. And in this episode, that's exactly what happened. But this time it wasn't like circumstance that drove it. It was actually the family dynamic, because they decide to get out of the house and they try to do some high society stuff. Nobody is into it at all.
I honestly thought that was so. I was like, dude, this isn't gonna work either. It's not like they're gonna like soak it all in one day and know what to do.
Yeah, so like they try the opera and like that shit. Well, before that, the scene with Yor holding Anya's hand, they did the double comedy bounce where like you start with a joke, then like Anya like takes her hands like, oh, this is cute, and then she reads her mind and she's like, yeah, I used to hang out with my brother all the time. I would break his ribs on a good hug, and then Anya like just runs over. Which is like, by the way, kids do that shit, little kids, where they just like fucking run off. So I was like, all right, I see the parenting angle there, even though like it makes sense both ways. It makes both internal monologue as well as in like real life. That's what would happen. But I thought that all that stuff was sweet.
I mean, I was surprised by the action. I literally did not. I expect action, but I didn't really expect it just like out of nowhere. But then also, I think this is part of like Lloyd's character arc, or that's what it seems like. Especially when he apprehended the guy, and then in his mind he was thinking, oh, but I'm never supposed to be seen, I'm only supposed to like help from the shadows, etc., etc. But then he also had a really good time like accepting the praise from the grandmother and shit like that. So I'm thinking, oh, is he gonna basically like want to become, not now, but like maybe in the future, like him wanting to stay with the family means that he wants to do the same things but just not be a spy. He doesn't want to hide it anymore. He wants to actually like, not receive accolades, but just like, do stuff like in the moment. Because when the purse first got snatched, he was just sitting there. He's just like, oh, damn, that's fucked up. And then when Yor went, that's when he was like, oh, shit. Okay, I guess I'll go do something too. Like, fine. And so they like flashed back to that, and I was like, oh, okay, this is very interesting, seeing him grow little by little, or like his ideals be challenged, but not in like a very like aggressive way. It's kind of just like, nigga, like, what are you doing? Like, think about this.
Right. And he's slowly every episode, reevaluating most of the principles that we were introduced to in episode 1.
Yeah.
So by this point in this episode, the idea of like, oh, well, being a spy kind of means like, he always had kind of noble intentions. That's why he's like the hero, even though he does a lot of like air quotes, bad stuff, kills people, is, manipulating and doing all this other thing. But his whole operating principle is, I'm comfortable doing this, not having my own personal life and never getting any reward in the, here and now. Because that's the life of a spy. A spy is supposed to understand that they're just going to toil in the darkness and then die, and no one will ever know. Well, this is like a little baby step where he does something noble and then gets his props while he's still here, and he kind of decides like, that's actually not so bad. Not saying that, again, he's on a journey, so this is like a baby step, but like this is him reevaluating whether or not that idea of being comfortable, never having an enjoyable life or having people pat him on the back for what he does is okay. And I thought that was nice that it also tied into Yor's development as well, because right before that you had the scene at the seamstress where ostensibly it's about getting the right clothes for a family photo, but there's like this whole double monologue, right? Because she wants to pick items of clothing that won't show up bloodstains.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny, and Anya's reaction to that was also pretty funny. But yeah, so it was chill. It was chill. I enjoyed this week.
Yeah. I also thought the ending was amazing. That was such a fucking that was a bop. That was a bop.
Oh, yeah.
Everything about the show is just fucking phenomenal. But, I mean, y'all already know that because we keep saying it every week. But was there anything else that you watched?
A couple things. So I was behind an episode. So I basically had watched like the first episode of Shield Hero, and so caught up. And I had the half of the second episode, but I really wasn't feeling it. So I finished that and also watched episode 3. I'm not coming back to Shield Hero, and frankly, I was never like a big fan.
Well, you read it also, didn't you?
Yeah, like the first half of the first season, I think they exhausted all of the parts of the storytelling and characters that I was really interested in, and it's more or less been a retread of a lot of the same ideas, just like to greater and greater degree. Like, like this leads into like a bigger issue I have, which is every season there are lots of characters filling out all sorts of shows.
Yeah,
that's by definition. But there are very few characters in those shows, if that makes any sense. Like the idea that when I watch something and I want to get to know through the writing and through whatever they want to present to me who some of these characters are, and there's often not very much to them. And so the less there is to a character, the more one-dimensional they are, the more poorly drawn the world around them is, the less they can carry off that's interesting. So one of the things, I saw this comment come up this week around some of the reviews that I like to read of shows I'm not gonna watch, where the question came like, sometimes is having like a lower budget kind of force a show to be written around its characters in a stronger way. This is usually excluding when there's like it's a straight up adaptation, which I know Shield Hero is like from the light novels, but
yeah.
But it can sometimes help too, because, and this may come up later when we talk about a certain series that I know you're revisiting in manhwa form, but like when a director has to take on the adaptation itself, and they say, okay, we don't have unlimited money and we've got to jam content into a much smaller window, what can we lose without harming the story? Or better yet, are there things that we can do to fix pacing or characterization issues or plot holes from the original material to make it better? And that balance between those two concerns is often driven by money. And when there's not as much of it, sometimes it does force studios to be better. So we mentioned Realist Hero. I think Genius Princess probably falls into the same category. And there's other sort of middle class type of shows that do better when there's less budget.
Yeah.
Shield Hero does not feel that way, and I think that it was inevitable because it's just a power fantasy harem with a very boring and unlikable main character who, once he solves his revenge issues around discrimination, still has to participate in a story that kind of feels tacked on but doesn't serve any other development purpose. Like you mentioned previous weeks, the reason why you're not watching is because you don't give a shit about the development of these secondary characters. Yeah. Because their problems are all very straightforward. It's like, I was ditched by the other hero, so I feel bad and depressed. But that's it. That's all there is to it. And there's really no other direction for growth that I give a shit about. So the bottom line was, they tried to jam in a kind of like apocalyptic war scenario with this fucking turtle.
Already?
And like, spoiler alert, well, I mean, it's not over yet, but spoiler alert, they fucking chop its head off, right? And the ending of the episode falls so flat because a character who was supposed to die did not die, and then the voice actor gave like the worst reading of this line ever. It's like, oh, I guess you didn't defeat the turtle, and then the episode ends. And I'm like, I can't imagine anyone willfully wanting to continue this story, like, unless you just
I saw people clowning the turtle. I saw people
Turtle's fucking whack.
I saw people clowning the turtle or the way that it looked. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, it's just going to be one of those shows where I'll get to it when I get to it at this point. I don't really have any,
you can miss it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
that too.
I don't want to support the idea of like, oh, shows can lean into their edginess to like make up for a lack of story. But the
edginess we watched is gone though.
Exactly. Like we watched Sabakui Bisco last season, and while I wouldn't say it's like an edgy series, what it does is that it leans into the over the top elements in order to evoke certain emotions, and then it rides those emotions into like genuinely interesting, cool, and satisfying conclusions, right? So a story that's like very edgy can keep that edge and ride the edge into satisfying moments.
Yeah.
And a series I would recommend, it's not an anime, but it's another manhwa. I think it's like FFF Class Hero or something. Like the main character is a 100% complete degenerate from panel 1 to panel 6,000. Like this person is a piece of shit, but he's consistently a piece of shit, and he actually has motivations that make sense and go along with his shittiness. He is easily frustrated and angered. He is, constantly beset by horrible people who are around him. And he is an overpowered main character and delights in petty ways, in like making people look bad, overpowering people, destroying them. So even as you read it, you're like, I don't like this person. I think this person is not good. There will still be moments in the series where like, I want him to fuck that person up. And then they deliver on it in embarrassingly foul ways. Ooh. Where it's like, oh shit. I think my favorite moment was he was irritated by some fucking like dragon he was trying to kill, and he couldn't figure out a way to kill it, so he just poisoned it, but it didn't kill the dragon immediately, and so it started chasing him across the whole country. And because he poisoned the dragon's blood,
it was poisoning everyone else.
It was poisoning everyone else, so he caused a natural disaster over the course of like four chapters, which then came back. Oh my god! Yeah, like it was like he killed it in a way he wasn't supposed to, and then like it fucked everything up, and like. Yeah, it's a whole thing, right? There's a lot of comedy in there too. But my point is, if you're going to make your character an asshole, and then you just resolve all the parts of his tragic story that render him an asshole, so now he's no longer an asshole, and there's nothing left after that, then the story is over. You have to figure out a way to end it right there. And that's the way I feel about Shield Hero. Now Fumi, there's nothing else to his character besides him being like a vengeful dweeb. The moment he stops being vengeful and kind of stops being a dweeb because he's surrounded by hot chicks, like, and he's supremely powerful, now you gotta sell me on the rest of the world. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. So okay. I wasn't into it, and I'm not gonna go back.
Okay.
And I have less to say about whatever the Demon King,
the Demon Lord school. I don't know the name of that fucking show.
Whatever it is. I Quit Heroing. There we go. That's the one.
Oh, I Quit Heroing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good. I'm not saying it's a bad show. Is it just more of the same that you said last week? It's exactly more the same. And this episode focused on like not just delegation, but how do you teach a subordinate to do a job and to organize people correctly. And it was nice because they managed to put a couple layers to that. It wasn't just the main character knowing exactly how to be a great personnel manager. It was actually, they thought that they knew the right way to reach this person, but their learning style was different. And so it took them trials to figure out the right learning style for that person to learn the lessons necessary to solve the problem. So I would put this at like, not quite elementary school level, but maybe not quite like, K-12 level of on-the-job lessons. This is not Realist Hero where you're getting lectures on Machiavelli the Prince and, learning about actual like quotes, complex logistics and agriculture. Like it's not data like that. Analyzing. Exactly. It's a level down in terms of complexity of the ideas, but it's the same vibe. Each week is sort of like a problem. Well, then I definitely want to
check it out now. If it's like that. Okay.
Yeah. And again, this is a weird show where the main character actually has a character. Like they have, things that make them stand out. They're not just a blank slate who just happens to be good at everything.
Super
like,
fucking
he's a little bit of a dick. He's a little bit of a perv, but actually he's just petty. And like that aspect is funny. It's played for a lot of like low-key laughs, and then they get on with the rest of the shit. Genuinely, he's a good-meaning and well-meaning person, so... And there's a little bit of a drama around trying to hide his identity from the, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, am I, like, amped to watch this every week? No. Is it,
but
like...
you do get around to it, though.
Right. And it not only does it not offend me, but if I need to spend 20, 25 minutes, you know, watching something, like, I'm not opposed to following on with it a little bit, but I'm not gonna like watch it every week. And it certainly didn't turn me the fuck off the way Dawn of the Witch and some other shit.
That one's getting ripped to shreds.
I mean, it should, because for a million reasons. It's just not good at any of the things it wants to be good at. That's all. So that's all I watched. What did you get up to this week?
I watched Pokemon.
Oh shit.
And the main reason why I watched Pokemon was because I saw the most recent opening, and I saw the Ash Greninja, and I was like, "Oh shit, that nigga's coming back!" And so I was just like, well, I want to see what's going on with Ash Greninja, because Pokemon XY had some of the best battle like Sakuga scenes in Pokemon like ever. So I was like, "Oh shit, like I'm gonna go check this out." But then you get to the point where you realize that like Ash is just such a pitiful character. He's just such a pitiful fucking character.
Oh no!
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's just that's just what he is supposed to be, because he is eternally 10 years old. He can't win.
Yeah, that's right.
Or he can't win the whole. He can't win every season, because they let him win finally in Alola, but like that was the very beginning of the fucking league and shit like that. I went around and I primarily watched the episodes, because now Pokemon Journeys is primarily like him doing the actual like reunions with all of the previous cast members. So I went and I was like watching like episodes here, and fucking damn near everyone is aged except Ash.
Yeah, that's gotta be bad rude. He shows up and he's still 10, and they're like, what the fuck?
Well, even the love interest from XY, what was her name? Serena, like homegirl's like more taller than him, and like she's not wearing like the little vest thing. She has this like a body tight like black little dress, and I'm like, she's hitting puberty. What are you doing? Like, why are we still here? Which I understand why we're still there, but like we got to the Greninja thing, and I'm like, okay, well this nigga ain't fighting how I thought he would. But also, I say that Ash is kind of like a pitiful character, because in the opening, it shows him with all of the gimmicks from all Pokemon seasons. So he has the Z-Ring, he has the Mega Watch, he has the Gigantamax like band.
Oh
or
man,
whatever.
this dude walking out here looking like a
he
goddamn...
literally is supposed to be fighting with all them bitches at once, and I still know he's going to lose. He's gonna lose with every
that's
fucking...
true though.
He's gonna lose with every fucking like... the other people that are showing up, they're using like one gimmick, and this nigga's like, I got Gigantamax, and then like I got like the soul thingamabob with Lucario that's like sinking me, blah, blah. I'm like, you still gonna lose, nigga. You still gonna lose.
What's that meme that goes around of like the ultimate like Yu-Gi-Oh like nerd, where they have like every single disc that was like they're trying to wear them all at the same time?
Oh my god!
Like you just walk out.
No, that's what like Ash looks like. If you go and you look at the most recent opening for Pokemon Journeys, the Japanese one, not the American one, when he throws his hands up and like throws the Pokemon balls down, you can see literally his arms. Just like this.
Bro, I couldn't even get my hands up. I'd be like weighed down. I'd be like, oh shit, here we go again.
Like, oh my god. I was like, bro, I mean, so it was cute though. I really enjoyed him like going to the old regions, reuniting with the old Pokemon and shit that like, you know, he left at other people's things.
Did he find Pidgeot?
I don't think he found Pidgeot, or maybe I didn't see
that man lied to Pidgeot.
Because that was the one thing that I was worried about, because I was like, that nigga let Greninja go. So I was like, I want to see how he's coming back. But the reason why, and I thought that he was going to fight with Greninja, but technically Greninja's not his Pokemon no more. So I was like, oh fuck, because of the Z, the whatever, the power and Sinnoh and the under earth things and da-da-da. I was like, whatever, great, we got it. He's got to help the alien Pokemon. Got it. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it. Like, I was actually very interested in seeing how they were gonna like do the animation styles, like if they were gonna change the animation styles depending on where they went, and they really didn't do that much. So I was like, oh, okay. But I think they learned you're seeing
it in like an updated style.
Yeah. Which they did. They brought everything to like the current style. But one thing that I really liked about Alola, or the animation for Alola, is because they did that like really simplified like thing, but it worked so well for the battles. Like the battles looked so fucking cool there. So I think they've successfully like taken that and like transferred it into like journeys without it looking like super simplified. It's a little bit more like clean cut and like.
Where would you say the budget is on this season? Is this like an all-stars kind of like, oh, we're gonna blow it out here, or is it just, you know, they found a simple, as you say, like a simple style?
I think there are moments. There are moments from what I've seen. I think they're waiting because he's doing the championship shit, but I feel like they're gonna pop off. I'm assuming he's gonna fight Leon eventually, okay. Or maybe he has fought Leon and I didn't get to that episode. I don't know, but like niggas love Leon. The internet loves Leon, so. A lot of the internet, y'all. Well, actually, no. He's of age. Yeah, y'all can do whatever y'all want with him. The internet loves Leon, so I'm interested to see that like Gigantamax Charizard like maul some niggas. Like I want to see it. I want to see like a fight. Like fight. And I think that might happen. No, I don't know if it's gonna happen with that. Anyways, it was interesting. So like if you're bored, I would even say you don't have to watch the full episode, y'all. Y'all can just like skip through it and get to the parts where like you want to see. Or like skip through it, get to the part. Like every time Team Rocket showed up, I skipped until the fight. I was like, we're not doing this. I don't care. We're not doing this. Like, no, we're not doing this. I don't care about y'all. It's just a gag. But at the end of the day, it's still a children's show. It's a kid's show. It's a kid's show through and through. But it's just so interesting to see Ash just still being ain't shit. And you're like 20. No, nigga. Well, he's like in his 30s. Yeah, I was like, nigga, you're supposed to be in your 30s. Like, at least.
I mean, if we're being real about it, from inception, he should be a 40-year-old man.
No, he should be like our age, shouldn't he?
He was 10
when the original Pokemon 10 in 97. 97, 98.
But what is that when the Japanese version
I think
dropped?
98 was when the Japanese version came out.
Why do I think it was earlier than that? Well,
No, it was not earlier than that.
Okay.
It was.
If so, then yeah, he's a millennial.
He's a millennial. I was like, nigga, you're a millennial. What are you doing? Like, okay, but anyways, yeah, it was fun. It was cute, and I can't wait to see the new evolution. Don't know what it's gonna be, but they're clearly hinting at it because
it's gonna be money. Is what it's gonna be.
Because of what is it? Violet and Rouge, or Scarlet and Violet. So something new. New shit's coming. I watched that. That was it. I watched that and like Spy X Family. I watched American TV that got adapted from. Not American TV, but just like, you know, like actual television through Netflix. Okay. But like it was a webcomic adaptation, Heartstopper. And it's the gay webcomic about UK British teens like figuring out their queer identity and shit like that. And honestly, y'all, like it was fucking perfect. Like I would recommend that for like anybody and everybody. Alice Osman, bitch. Don't stop writing. Keep that pen going. I'm actually like had to stop myself from going and like buying all her shit because I wanted to experience the rest of the story through Netflix because I thought it was such a really good adaptation. Which brings me to talking about like adaptations in general where I'm like, do some things not need to be animated? Should they instead go straight to fucking live action? Is that like something that needs to be considered? Because this didn't get animated at all. It went straight to Netflix, live action. And she started with it. It was a webcomic. It still is a webcomic, I believe. But I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Because the Koreans are actually doing that also. With their manhwas. With like the romance manhwas. There's something, I feel like it's easier to adapt those with live action things. But it's also, I feel like those are getting more success than like the action stuff that gets adapted in animation format. So then, but then people love the live stage shows like to death. So then I'm just like, is there some kind of disconnect somewhere? Or is it just that like specifically these genres have to be adapted in this way because this is just how niggas respond to it? So that I just thought about that and I was like, this is really interesting because I never knew about this webcomic until I saw this and then got to the marathon day and I was like, bitch, I love this. Like, are you kidding me? This is an adaptation. This is fucking phenomenal. And, you know, same kind of thing happened with, I think Business Proposal was a webcomic. That's a really big popular one. It's a Korean romance. And then also Semantic Error, which is like a big BL manhwa that it's huge in Korea. And I feel like the only reason why season 2 didn't get announced because one of the main characters had to do his military service. Like he literally finished filming and then went to military service. So, right. But I don't think they expected it to be that huge. And so now I'm just wondering what would happen if like, maybe not like the manhwa or like the anime that require like full-on sakuga scenes, but stuff that just requires, you know, like a little bit of like martial art based things. Like maybe what would happen if those came to live action first before they came to animation? Like what would that be? And also I know that primarily depends on the production company, like hardcore. But I think a good example of that is Alice in Borderland, the Netflix adaptation of that, where I heard there's an anime of that, which I never heard of the anime adaptation of
Alice me neither.
I never knew that it existed, but I found out about it after watching the Netflix one. I was like, yo, this shit's fucking baller. Like, this is amazing. And then I found out about it later and I was like, damn, I never heard it. And I honestly didn't even want to go back and look at the anime adaptation because I was like, this shit's so good with the live action.
Yeah, the live action I thought was really good. You know what I think happens a lot? I mean, you raise a pretty good question, which is if a series is popular enough and gets enough attention that a studio or an IP holder thinks to themselves like, we can kind of remonetize this over and over again by bringing it to live action, let's just imagine like it starts as a comic of some kind or a novel. Yeah. They say, okay, what are all the ways we can adapt this? And the decision is more made on the strength of the IP or the interest in the IP or the opportunity that, you know, bring it to another medium might get it more attention than it necessarily is whether those other mediums are going to be easy or difficult to translate whatever made it popular in the first place in its native, you know, format, right? Because I think a lot of the reason why like live action retellings or adaptations of like slice of life, comedy, romance, a lot of like the more like grounded stories and genres work a little bit better is because even if say like you get a director or a production company that's not very good, there's all these places where like say a really good casting choice or a really good script can save a production that otherwise would be plagued by a lot of like, you know, poor decisions or amateur work or whatever. Whereas when you start working in like especially in animation where the quality studios and the quality talent is much more limited, you could have the best script in the world. You could have like, you know, a really, really a big budget, a compelling, you know, format. You get a lot of episodes or maybe doing a movie, so you get a lot of time to work on something. And it is so easy to be one bad director away, one, you know, inexperienced producer away, one underfunded or overly burdened animation team away from a complete train wreck. And I feel like in the live action space, and you mentioned stage plays are perfect because a stage play, number one, you get a lot of bites at that apple, right? Like, if shit ain't working, you can tweak a stage play and you already have to cut down so much out of it. And the people who would go to a stage play are already going to be the kind of people who are pretty much there for like, I want to see my favorite character be, you know, acted out by a very attractive stage actor.
Yeah.
Right? They already know the story. That like it's not even something that is going to get a lot of exposure. So it's like this kind of, I don't want to say throwaway, but a very like secondary product that it don't take much to do good. You know what I mean? Whereas like, with like if you get the anime adaptation of your favorite series, if they don't stick their motherfucking foot in that shit and have a really good director and it's just a wrap. Like that shit ain't gonna work. Yeah. Ask any Berserk fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could actually imagine Berserk working better in live action with like a movie treatment than it ever will animated, and that doesn't make any sense.
Well, as long as they don't do what they did with like Monster Hunter.
Well, yeah, but you see my point, right? The opportunity to tell a good story, you know. You have to shoot a much different gap depending on what genre you're working in. Like, and also there's a formula for romance series of any variety, making it to live action and doing big numbers, like TV in Korea and Japan. Like I'm always shocked because there's a lot of series I remember from like the late 90s, early 2000s that were like slice of life stuff that I remember the name, but then like it got away from me, and I'll look and see that they had like an 8-season TV show, and I'm like, what? Like sometimes concurrently to when the anime version was running, and I just never. I never knew because it was off my radar, but people connect more to the TV show or the live action than they do the anime. I was like, that's fucking wild. So yeah, but that was the other thing that I watched, and that made me bring up that. But then also, speaking of web comics, hey,
I just randomly on a whim today, like I didn't even do this like over the weekend, or else I would have been much further. I started reading Tower of God. I mean, not Tower of God. Oh my God, God of High School. That's another legend. But I did catch up. Come back to that. I caught up on Tower of God where we at right now. But because holy shit, bitch, what the fuck is going on, man? But the God of High School is where like I was like, you know what? Shit. I'm just gonna read it because I kind of was in a space today where I was like, I tried to watch something and I was like, I don't really feel like watching. I feel like it's really not like keeping my like attention. So I was like, maybe if I like read something. So I was like, let me go read the first few chapters of God of High School and see what's going on. I'm reading this shit. I'm over here giggling, cackling. Like, I'm like, oh my God. I enjoy the manhwa format for this show so much more. It is ridiculous. How do I even put it? I don't remember much of the comedy from
because it wasn't there.
Adaptation. Because it wasn't there.
Was gone.
God of High School is fucking hilarious. The panels are just like, they're perfect, and also they break the fourth wall like damn near every time. Like I'm literally like, yo, nigga, why are you talking to us? Or the biker gang showing back and be like, yo, remember you beat my friend's ass in the 4th chapter? We're back. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, what is this? But I love, like, that's become the baseline. And so now I'm like, okay, it's just like an ongoing thing, but it's funny. And also the characters, like, I'm not super duper far. I'm at the part where Jin rocked Homeboy and is supposed to get disqualified in this meeting with Homeboy. And he's asking him,
Taekwondo dude, something bike something. I forget his name.
But yeah. It's like, it's the two guys, but oh my God. And now I'm having a flashback to like something that was funny that didn't get shown in the show. So there was the time where Jin's grandfather came back from North Korea and they sent the niggas to attack him. And the guy that has the cross on his face, he was like, yeah, that bitch gave me this cross. And then the friend was like, yeah, and I have this scar on my face because you used me as a human shield. And then they immediately have like a mini panel of them in chibi form with the nigga like holding him up and like Jin's grandfather looking like an evil fuck. And I'm like, this is fucking great. Like, but it was not portrayed in the show at all. At all.
Oh, Gong Mansuk, that was that guy's name. Because this person was, I remember that guy. Yeah.
And so I'm just like, he has like kind of like the little devil horn hair thing.
Oh, the executive dude?
The executive guy. Yeah.
Was it Park? That wasn't Park Mubong. I'm trying to
remember. Mubong, yeah, it's him.
Okay, yeah.
He has like 2 names. He has like one. Yeah.
Bro, that dude is fucking crazy.
Oh, well.
The guy is fucking nuts.
I will be finding out what the fuck's going to happen with him. But even just overall, like these first few chapters, it's a completely different experience. It's a fun experience. It's not boring. Because I distinctly remember watching God of High School and being bored. Like, bored. It had cool moments. The Sakuga was fucking great. But, like, Minseo, she's fucking hilarious. She's fucking hilarious in the car. And it, like, from the moment, from her initial, like, introductory chapter, it was just, like, perfect. They also show her with, like, the super masculine face, like, in the background whenever she gets it. It's just, where was that? Why wasn't it in the show?
There was so much that was missing from it's unbelievable actually what they did in order to fit about what did we figure out was about 115 chapters that they fit into.
You said
yeah, like 12 episodes. Like this is like what was crazy to me watching it. So in the first episode, we go all the way from Mori Jin's grandfather, I think it was Jin Taijin or whatever the guy's name. Like we go all the way from like a scene introducing him leaving Mori behind, then the introduction of the King of High School tournament, the whole like Mori getting to the tournament, him running like into the whole thing with like the
brawl.
Before the brawl, but even before that, like the robber who was on the bike.
Yeah, that wasn't even until like the 4th chapter.
That's exactly where I was going with that. Like all that stuff. That's like in the first 5 or 7 minutes, they covered 4 chapters worth of material. And granted, I do think that like in that very opening scene, the way they slimmed down like most of the story to just being Jin getting to the King of High School tournament grounds is perfectly reasonable. Like some of that stuff could have been cut, but you cut things like that in order to give the other stuff room to breathe. Yeah. They were committed to getting to the entire, like the final end of the tournament and all the stuff that breaks out afterwards in 12 episodes, and that was such a waste. It was such a waste.
Thinking, like as I'm reading it, I'm like, yo.
Because by episode 3, you had characters who completely flip-flopped, like back and forth multiple times in terms of like how they were. For example, like Mira, okay. All the stuff with like her getting married and then like them crashing the wedding, and like her thing with Daiwi, and like all that shit comes in. Like they met her the day, at least as far as if you're watching the anime, it felt like they had met her the day before. They became best friends. Daiwi got feelings for her. Then she just announced like she's getting married, and then they treat it like it's the most important thing that they've got to like intervene in. Bitch, this was like, what chapter was that? Was it like 30 or 4? Like they had done so much together on camp. Like when Jin gets disqualified, there's a whole block of time where like they're like nothing's happening. Like it's fucking wild. I don't know. Like
going off of that even further, when you said that like the way that they draw the fight scenes, God, it is. Not a lie was told. It looks so good. Like I literally like pause on the panels and I'm just like looking like even the one, and I mean you posted it on Twitter earlier, but like when he like did up homeboy and like you could see like the 3 different versions of Jin like on his ass, I was like, yo, I don't even need that animated. This shit looks so cool. Like
he gave that man the 3-piece.
Just this one shot. Well, even the one where homeboy was fighting him earlier and did like the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I was like, wait a fucking second, you're not a main character. And you, what is this? Like, you're getting to show off the Tai Chi shit. I was like, this look, first of all, it looks so good. And this is the beginning. How many years ago was that?
Oh, I mean, probably
because it's like chapter 500 something. Yeah,
it's like 10 years ago.
Oh my God. Like it look, comparing this to Tower of God, this is the beginning of Tower of God. This started off with a much better like quality level.
Yeah, no, it was like you could tell that this something special was happening here from like chapter 1. You were like, oh, this different. I don't know how they figured this out, but this shit different.
And it's so like vibrant. Like the colors pop off the page. It's so cool. And I even enjoyed. Did we even get that fight scene in the anime where the two administrator guys were fighting at the abandoned factory?
No. You get like 2 shots of that, because the only time you ever see them fight is the ambush in Park Mubong's apartment.
Okay, so this was, first of all, that's the thing though. I'm enjoying this, but almost every time that there's like a serious thing, there's a comedic aspect. So like them niggas are fighting. We're seeing like glimpses of powers that apparent Jin them can't even imagine yet. Are not on their radar. This nigga got the cards going. Homeboy shooting fucking mini tornadoes at him. They're slicing up the whole thing. And then homegirl's on the sideline eating chips. And someone's like, can you stop them? And she's like, no, it's after 6 p.m. I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, oh, I know that's right, girl. And then Park shows up and like he like does the hand thing. And they go down. And then there's a little side bubble where homegirl is at, and it fucking slammed her ass down too, even though she wasn't fucking fighting. And I was like, this is great. Like, just like little details like that. I'm just like, what the? This wasn't in the show. This wasn't in the show. I want that.
I think I'd brought it to you, like, you know, off recording, but like even the beginning. There were some choices that were made that were not from the manhwa that I could see in a pitch meeting why they would do this, but like it ultimately I think hurt the show. So like to me, when I heard God of High School was getting an adaptation, I was like, okay, boom. I know you're not going to get 24 episodes. So you do the first 12 and have it end on the cliffhanger when the tournament gets ruined, right? And just cut like right there, and then you can have 12 episodes of like you just start with the tournament arc. And that, by the way, was the thing that got me into the series in the first place. Is that it was like cutting the fat. You just go right into the tournament arc. You introduce all these colorful, interesting characters. They bounce off each other. You make the central emotional part of the story about how the 3, you know, Daiwi, Morijin, and Mira, how they kind of come together. You have a couple of really clear antagonists, like the dude with like the shark power shit and like, you know, the whatever. And then you just spool out the rest of the backstory about Morijin over the course of that arc. And then you just cut it there. And if it's a success, you come back and you do all the over the top shit with like the angels. But I think they were
rushing to get to the Wukong shit.
Exactly. They were so committed to doing the reveal of like Morijin's real powers in those 12 episodes that it meant that they had to like overstate a lot of things that were not there in the manhwa and understate a lot of things that actually, to my mind, like it was the formula. The formula of God of High School is a beautiful, hand-drawn martial arts shown off in a way that felt fresh and new with lots of vibrant colors, over-the-top characters that just felt like, oh, this is modern. This is not someone trying to do Dragon Ball Z. This feels very, very different, right?
It's its own thing.
All the characters are young, like, you know, very. I won't go so far as to go like Bleach level creativity, at least in the first couple of seasons of this. But like, there was a lot of like hip shit in here, but also. The original King of High School tournament was not this like fucking wild over the top like party Floyd Mayweather fight atmosphere. Like they fucking added that to add excitement. But like if you read the manhwa, they just have a tournament in a fucking gym. Like there are people there by the end, but most of the people who are involved are contestants. In the anime, it starts out this is the biggest show in town, and everyone's gonna be there. They get in there and like they change the aesthetic.
They're already in the stadium and shit.
Right? It's like it's literally like a boxing match with like it's dark and like you don't see the crowd and everything is like super like hyper focused on screaming people of these fights, and that wasn't how this shit started, bro. They were in a gym fighting their asses off, and nobody was there. When Morijin takes Gang's fucking kick into the stands, he hits empty chairs. There's nobody there. So they I don't know why they made that choice to like turn everything up to 11 and then cut like this, there's no plot. I mean, I don't say there's no plot, but the story of God of High School
also,
is
I feel
very
like
simple.
After reading this, I was like, it has a charm that wasn't present. There's
100%.
a lot of charm that's missing, that's present in the manhwa from the very beginning. And I'm just like, this was not in what I watched. Like, I did not get this. And now I understand why I saw so many source material people, they were just like, this is not it. Like, and I was confused because I was like, the Sakuga's cool. Like, what are you talking about?
It had that. That's the hardest part to do. These series never get the budget or like the care and attention to really live up to what people's expectations are. Very rarely does that happen. And they got it right. They actually got that part right.
But like, everything else.
But everything else, like that first fight scene with the Tai Chi dude and the Taekwondo dude, if you go to the manhwa, like, it's still a good fight. There's nothing wrong with the fight at all. Hits all the same beats, but it's actually a lot more like, I won't say drab. It's just not. It didn't like the scenes where they're actually like striking and exchanging. It's really short, right? Like, dude gets basically. He dodges a bunch of shit. He stops one attack. Then he takes one arm out. Grabs the dude by the hair. He starts mollywopping. Off camera, they cut to like the announcers talking about like, oh, he's using a lot of like dirty moves. This looks like someone who's like training to fight in a war,
and then
not
they
have
go
a competition.
Into the details.
Right, exactly. They break down like why his moves are completely nullifying everything. Very like early Dragon Ball, like original Dragon Ball.
And also, they added comedy in it when the wave feedback shit. And Mira was like, well, I used that. And he was like, I didn't want to hurt you.
And he's like, yeah, hey, girl, don't worry about it. Like, I wasn't trying to fuck you up there. Like, it's like a little aside.
Yes.
Right? And it doesn't have, it's still a dude getting violated. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, my man's got completely demolished.
I mean,
he's
when
like,
he had his hair like that, and he was looking down on him, and he was like,
yeah, he had him back. He was like, bro.
He was like, yeah, we about.
He's like, I will never surrender. I'll never surrender. He's like, okay, I'm a murder you. And then having Mori Jin step in at the last minute, it still felt the exact same way. Like, you still got the same effect in the manhwa. The way they did in the anime was like, they give you this gorgeous fight scene, which is fantastic. A bunch of shit that never happened in the manhwa.
Exactly.
But because the atmosphere is like this, you know, Tyson fucking Holyfield boxing match instead of like niggas who were supposed to be fighting in like a gymnasium, it somehow raises the stakes, but also makes everything less important because it's like you're trying so hard to make this cool. Like, the original was just effortless, and the comedy balanced it out.
Yes, effortless. That is a perfect description. I'm entertained every time. I'm entertained. Not to say that other things that I've consumed are not. I feel like I keep doing that like stupid Twitter shit where you have to like make a caveat because someone's gonna purposely take it out of context or whatever. Anyways, it's just entertaining from start to day. I'm nowhere near finishing. Am I even in it? I'm just fantastic. In double digits.
You're not even it's like when someone says, oh yeah, I read like the first half of the prologue of Tower of God. You're like, all right, okay.
Okay, well then go back. You're not done.
You know what it reminded me of when we started talking? It's like, you know, I'm not like a big fitness person, but when I was a kid, one of the things that I remember very vividly was being sort of instructed about how anything can, in whatever amounts, like big amounts or small amounts, can be very good for you or it can kill you. So if you ever like go look at those bodybuilders, right, and or big time professional athletes who have to do things like cut weight in order to like make a fight, or when they're going for a competition, like they gotta have like no water in their bodies and whatever body fat. If you get like, so if you're a woman and you get like a body fat percentage, like you work yourself down to like under, I think it's like 1.6% or 2%, you will actually just die.
What?
You will die. Men can go lower, but if it happens to a woman, that you will just die. Right? Your blood stops being able to, get enough electrolytes. You'll have a heart attack and you will die. Okay? But like the idea there is, we look at something like weight loss for fitness as if it's like something we all should be doing. But there's a point where you cut so much that you just your body cannot function. Even if you could have the biggest muscles, you could PR like 420 pounds. But if you cut just a little bit more, your whole body falls apart. And I feel that way about the anime adaptation of God of High School. Here's this big like muscular series that's held together by some pretty basic low-level shit. All you gotta do is don't fuck with the storyline, don't fuck with the pacing, and let the comedy bits deflate some of the over-the-top nonsense that's happening in the story, and it's like a perfect meal. Right? Because it's not doing too much in all the other parts that normally trip up a shonen, and you can get all these like gorgeous moments and big time visuals and the over the top, emotional shit. But if you start cutting things, if you start jamming things together, it doesn't take much to disturb that from where it goes to like sublime experience to absolute disaster. Because I know there are people out there, when I was shitting on God of High School, who were like, well, but it's got all the same things that are from the story of the first season. Why are you complaining? Like, it looks great. And it's like, it needs the fat. It needs some of that, like, goofy shit. It needs to slow the fuck down. It needs to, like, give us time to actually buy all the stuff it's trying to sell us. Because I mean, I know Mori Jin and Mira and Daiwi are awesome, and that they have a cool, fun friend dynamic that matters and becomes a big part of the plot. But if the show is asking me to just take it at face value, I don't believe that Mori Jin would, be fucking putting his life on the line for these motherfuckers. I don't believe some of the shit like that Mira and Daiwi did to like really sacrifice and mean something is believable, because I got none of the fun in between stuff that you cut out so that you could get to him turning into the Monkey King. Was that worth it? Was it worth sacrificing
literally, it was
series just for that?
It was Sakuga hype. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And even when he did turn, I was kind of like, this is short. I was like, we did all this for this? The ending made no sense.
No, because it comes out of fun. It's like boom, 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 boom. Dude turns into a giant, like, white, like demon fish thing.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting to that part myself with the manhwa, and I'm looking forward to getting past that and just, like, going and going. And I think one of the things that made me want to read it was, I think I saw, like, some Twitter post about like the different forms of Jin Mori, and I was like, oh shit, well whatever, let me look at it. And I was like, oh, this nigga look hard. I was like, let me go read this shit. I was like, what are you doing? Let me go read this. Let me go find out what's going on. Which doesn't even, first of all, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and we'll get to Tower God in a moment. But One Piece, I'm behind on One Piece, but 1015, that fucking punch and whatever the fuck is going on in One Piece, Jesus, I don't know what the fuck the manga's doing right now, but I'm pretty sure it's... Well, no, I know what it's doing. It's crazy shit going on in the manga, because the new form has appeared. But, like, oh my god, man, just... That was... you know what? The hacking probably was a good thing for Toei.
Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong.
It was probably a good thing, because it gave them time to basically be like, nigga, let's go balls to the walls for this shit. I do have a question though. Why is it called Roof Piece? Why are they calling it Roof Piece?
Do we want to get into it?
Is that a spoiler?
A little teeny bit.
Oh, okay. Is the next arc is Roof something? Is that no? Okay, whatever. Let me not say anything. I'll catch up to One Piece. Well, yeah. I'm trying to decide if I want to catch up. I think I'm just gonna catch up anime wise and then like read.
How far back are you?
I'm at the right before Wano, the mini arc.
Okay.
Like I read up to that mini arc, and then I started watching, and I'm like in whatever. I'm like that. I think who was it? Someone was infiltrating it. Who the fuck?
Yeah, you find out. Well, I'm not gonna give it away.
Yeah.
Yes, the Reverie.
Yeah, Reverie. Yeah, Reverie. Yeah. So I'm at the very beginning of that.
Before we hop over to that, I just want to say that anyone who's a real God of High School fan knows that if you were gonna rush through the first season, the real reason to do it is to get to Uma the Oxen King, and they didn't make it that far, because I promise you, if they had, that series would have been renewed for 18 seasons.
Oh,
they would have. That would have been an instant renewal, but they never made it.
To work for it.
Yeah.
But and I guess touching on Tower of God, bitch, that nigga, so this is a 10 fact. First of all, did you see the one for today?
I have not read today's.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll come back to this. We will come back to this. Woo! They're really trying it. They're really
I already know where they're going. You know me. I'm still upset that they're rehabilitating.
Oh, I think I've seen random
fucking
pictures
Yasuracha.
Of her.
I'm so upset about that.
Boobs. Oh my god.
Oh, you saw Uma?
Uma. What the fuck? Okay. Oh my god. Speaking of boobs, like someone got people were annoyed with me on TikTok because I said that yours boobs looked big this week. Like,
man, she's wearing that the mom sweater that is hot everywhere else but Japan because reasons.
But I'm like, wait, I was because that's the thing. I was like, this looks like her titties are big. Like they look like bigger than usual. Like what is this going on? And people were like, that's what you focused on. Why
the fuck not? Hold on now. What's wrong with that?
Like
we should focus on any and everything. How about that?
Like yeah, I was like, the fuck you mean? Why am I focusing on that? I was like, it looks like there's been a clear difference in breast size. I'm not saying it's bad. This is not
fucking.
I just noticed it.
This is not like the One Piece problem where it's like every 50 chapters, every woman goes up 1 cup size and down 1 waist size. Like,
Nami's back is gonna break eventually. Like,
she'll just float away. She'll just lean up and then
Robin can make some hands come out and basically just cup them as she walks away.
Yeah, that was when my wife saw Robin for the first time and saw what her power was. Her first comment was like, "So she don't need a bra." I was like, you know what? A real woman would think like that because you could just get your hands and hold them up yourself. I was like, okay, I got you. I see. Smart, thinking functionally.
Which I do want to catch up on One Piece because I really want to see how Robin's power has evolved because I know it's evolved.
There's a lot of cool. She's blended in a good way back into the main cast.
Because she really hasn't been doing much over the past few arcs that I've she didn't really do much on she wasn't there at Whole Cake.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't on Whole Cake.
Yeah.
But even
she does a lot. She has a lot to do in the middle part of the Wano arc, and then in the last fight has lasted the last year and a half. So everyone has had something to do there. So that's not unique to her.
Well then, hey, that was the other thing that I had to talk about this week. So I will definitely be coming with more updates on God of High School. So y'all expect that to be a recurring thing in the meantime.
You know what? And I actually, now you put it in my head. I want to rewatch it or reread it rather.
I'm kind of interested in rewatching it just to see damn nigga, you really cut you cut this, you cut that, you cut that, you cut that. What were y'all thinking?
It's okay. I mean, that's the thing. If you're a reader and you watch God of High School, what it feels like is just someone went in and did all the high points with really cool animation, but you kind of die inside because you know that anyone watching it cold is not getting the right experience. I was cool with the series from a content point of view. I got to see things in motion that were really cool, but it just sucked because I was like, man, this ain't the series. This is the Cliff Notes, and it doesn't feel good watching it the Cliff Notes. But if you've got I think we said it then, just read God of High School, and then if you want to watch it later, fine. But read it. Reading it is a good experience. Yeah, it's pleasant and it looks great. And the panels literally move. I don't know what else you want.
Let's see. Did you have anything you want to talk about? Or do you want to go to news?
I mean, there's a couple of news items, I guess. One is that Bubble's second trailer came through, and still looking good.
I will be watching.
It'll be out, what, next week or the week after next?
No, it's this week. It's the 28th.
Is it this week? Oh, we talked about this, right? Yeah, it is the 28th.
Thursday.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. I have like there's no rant behind this. I'm just annoyed that Peter Grill and the philosophers, whatever, philosophers pornography
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, got a second season, and I'm gonna just be very clear. I like series that are garbage of this variety because it does not pretend to be anything but what it is, which is just straight up porn. I think there would have been better if you're gonna bring back series that are like, you know, edgy, ecchi nonsense. Just go all the way and bring back Ichizoku Reviewers for a second season if that's where you're gonna go. Like,
the people want it.
I mean, like the literal premise of this series is that this guy has to bone all these chicks. Like they don't make any like excuses. Like, that's everyone's trying to fuck him explicitly. Most of the conflict or the drama in every episode is just whatever this backstory of some new non-human creature girl with huge tits that wants to fuck him, and he's more or less down for the cause. It's just he just wants to like delay things for like vague reasons.
What is that meme? What do niggas be saying?
DTF?
No, not DTF. It's the one where like you're gonna fuck someone that you damn well you shouldn't like.
Oh, I mean, like, well, I know that's like the red flag shit. But
it's not. No, there's a.
But I'm saying there are literal whole episodes that consist of all of the main cast in a room fighting each other to fuck this man.
Yeah.
Like that's all this is. So I mean, they got some hot girls and they're gonna put some new ones in there. But I was asking when this first aired because I think it was streamed on like High Dive and Crunchyroll, and at the time I just couldn't believe it because I'm like, this is absolute trash. This is the kind of trash like I would pay someone to make. There's no way that this was done for real. But it was, and now we get a second season, and I don't know. I've never run into a single person who has owned up to watching this. So I don't know. There's some like game associated with it as well.
Oh, of course there's a game.
I mean, there should be. It's like no brainer. It's a free to play, so you go take with that what you. I'm sure it'll make like tens of millions of dollars. But like, why? Why are we doing that? Just whatever. I'm done. I'm not ranting about this. I'm just saying we could have done better.
I can't believe I don't remember this shit. I'm gonna be obsessed with finding this out. If someone, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's the shit that all the problematic niggas say whenever it's like a girl or something like that. They like all the red flags pop up, like you said, but they're still gonna fuck. It's like it's a saying that they always say. I just can't remember it right now, but every time I hear it, I'm just like, oh nigga, come on.
It'll never not be true.
Because they always do.
And it goes both ways too. So I'm not just putting it on the men.
And that is true too.
The straights. It's everybody. This is a human problem.
Yeah. Listen, in the moment. Yeah, I guess let's see. News wise, yeah. Bubble. Shaman King Flowers is coming. So like that's great. I'm gonna have to
really enjoy that read, by the way. If anyone wants a fun read, go read Shaman King Flowers. Because you forget how cool that art style is drawn. Like in black and white. Like there's a lot of panels that just look like celebratory paintings across the whole panel of this like really slick. Because Shaman King doesn't get the, the flowers that it deserves. So.
And then there's another sequel after Flowers that's like on hiatus or something right now.
Yeah.
What else is there? Odd Taxi film did good for what it is, which is great. And so we have Naruto sneakers coming. Jordan Brand Zion Williamson, which
that's the only good part is that Zion Williamson is
personally,
involved.
y'all, I don't know. I don't be watching sports balls things. I don't watch them. So like, I was like, who is that? Okay, cool. When they announced it, I was like, oh shit. Okay. Then I saw the shoes. I don't know about that.
They're kind of
I don't know about that. And then also, I keep hearing horror stories about like the shoe resale market. So I was like, I probably never would have been able to get them in the first place. So, you know, it is what it is. Whatever. But it's nice to see, you know, anime with such a big brand like that. So it's probably going to be a whole bunch of Naruto people picking it up, you know?
Well, I don't need the hype beast yelling at me, but I think that like we look at these shoes, or someone like me looks at these shoes, I'm like, that's not it. But I think that it's almost a meme at this point that like people just buy these ugly ass Jordans and they go for unbelievable amounts because they're just so garish, and it's like, oh, their unique ugliness is what lets people know that they were a limited run. Like people, they know them, and so they're like, oh, you got the whatevers. I'm like, they look like shit.
They do.
Like,
I mean,
I'm wear these.
You know what? Maybe I'll be completely flabbergasted and see them in person and be like, actually, I was wrong. Like them shits actually are kind of like hard, but I'm not a sneakerhead myself, so I don't know. I don't know that culture. I also know that a lot of white people are like being extremely problematic in it, especially like the trust fund babies. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna go in there. I don't need another reason to be mad. Like,
and I don't mind like wacky branded sneakers. Like when I say something is like ugly, it doesn't necessarily mean I think that's a bad thing. I think like a lot of like clothing should be over the top because it's like, you know.
I think that's good because, it's fun, but also the people who know how to style can actually make that shit work.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if I talk shit about it, it's mostly like I'm not interested in buying it because they don't fit whatever my style is. But I think it's generally a good thing that anime is just becoming very normalized, and it's not a surprise to me that there are so many young athletes and performers and famous people who are not, you know, you would look at them and in the past you would stereotypically say that's not somebody who's into the same stuff that I might be into, and then you pick their brains like, what do you think they were doing in their dorms in college? What do you think that they were doing
shit we were doing?
It's the same shit. Probably more of it because it's just so much more accessible and it's like very normal. Like I literally remember having to go to like literal back rooms of like tape stores to find anime because it would always be put in adult sections if it had like blood or like some nudity. So I gotta fucking rub shoulders with actual perverts like to get at some basic shit. Like I remember I went to try to get Ninja Scroll on VHS and I had to go to this shady ass Chinese video store in the city. That. Yo, and it was behind the fucking curtain.
I thought it was a hentai.
Yeah, listen. You could have fooled me because it was with like a lot of absolute filth. And you know what? As an adult, I appreciate filth a lot more. My problem was I don't like being ghettoized with like the actual like proto incels from like the 90s and early 2000s. That shit was fucking whack. A lot of people got exposed to some shit they didn't need to, you know, because of that. Just like normalize that shit, man. Make it easy. So it's easy today anyway. So,
which is a whole other topic of just like, you know, expectations. You know what? This is not a podcast for that. So whatever.
Correct.
Teach your children, y'all. Just don't let the internet do everything. They need to actually learn things from the mouths of babes of past babes, not current babes.
We crawled through the mud so y'all could build castles in the sky. That's all I gotta say.
But I want to be in that castle too. So like,
I also want a castle.
Just like chill. I think that's all I really have for today. You have any recommendations?
Yes, I do. But before I make it as a recommendation, I just want to say that it's been a pretty enjoyable time going and now not having like 8 things I'm trying to watch this season because it has cleared up a lot of time.
I've been chilling.
To do things. I'll tell you one thing I've never, like in the last like 15 years or 10 years really, like I've missed out on because I've been watching so much weekly shit. I have watched almost no anime movies. other than like, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen 0 just came out, the Hell Train stuff that like, and some of the in theater releases for like Hathaway's Flash, and also I think was it Unicorn had a in theater. Like so I've seen movies like anime movies like that, but I just haven't had time to go back and watch some of the other also runs that I would normally miss. So number one, I watched and would recommend all of the Battleship Yamato movies, because like I was talking before about how this season pretty much Legend of Galactic Hero is the only like space opera that's really running and is like high quality. Well, like the Battleship Yamamoto movies are also space opera stuff, classic, and the movies are good. I never had a chance to. I think movie one, there's two that were released in the last
movies canon? Is it like a retelling?
They are all canon, and
or is it a continuation?
They're canon and continuations. So there's an older film that's a retelling of the 1980 film.
Yeah.
And then there's one that's like a sequel that I watched, and I was able to watch both of them this week and was like kind of getting into it. So I wanted to just give a shout out to that series, and also the more recent movies. The other thing I wanted to recommend is, so I caught fully, I think I mentioned this the other week, I was starting to catch up on Shenmue, and it's good. It's actually really, really good. I've got up to the episode 10. So we're up to 12 now, but I wanted to recommend that one as well. Not for like a weekly thing that we're dealing with, but like it does a lot of things that game adaptations fail at. And I think part of that is because Shenmue was such a grounded, it was basically like, you know, this sort of kind of love letter to like those late 80s, early 90s action movies, but you don't notice it as much when you're playing the game because it's very much a game. In the anime, there's a lot of aspects that I missed from the setting, like because it takes place in the 80s, that really work very well as kind of like a unique themed world to live in. And I was complaining this week about how there's like very few characters. Ryo is like really, really cool. Like he's a cool character that we just don't get anymore as like an archetype of like kind of like the streetwise martial artist. Like he's like, they're doing a lot. I'm watching the Japanese language version, and these voice actors are sticking their foot in it. So between that and the animation quality, I am having a really good time. So I also want to just like double down on that comment from last week and just recommend Shenmue. And by the way, you can watch it on Adult Swim. It's right there. It's easy. So
I don't have a recommendation this week, y'all. I literally just been at home chilling. I actually got fucked up for Easter, like big time.
It's what baby Jesus would have wanted.
It's what, oh my God. But I literally was just like, every free moment I had outside of work, I was like, I'm taking a nap. I'm fucking napping. I'm going to bed. What's up. And so this weekend was the first moment where I was like, I kind of feel normal again. So I didn't watch anything outside of that. I mean, I played, of course, Final Fantasy, but you know, whatever. That's a whole other thing. Everybody's getting ready for fucking Overwatch Beta 2. They announced the new World of Warcraft thing. I'm like, okay, y'all. I don't care no more. I don't care.
Ooh, one thing I am gonna do, I'm starting this week, which somebody recommended to me, which shout out to whoever it was that mentioned this. I'm rewatching Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, I need to do that.
Beginning to end. It's been a long time since I watched the whole thing, and I'm debating whether to watch the sub or the dub, because I grew up with the dub and I love the dub. I fucking love that shit. I like the dub.
Well, yeah, I also grew up with the dub too. So
yeah, so like, but I'm gonna start that shit this week. I always every time I see anything Yu Yu Hakusho related, I'm just like, oh right, that. Okay. So I'm definitely.
I mean, has anything happened with Hunter x Hunter? He's still on hiatus.
Listen, I got enough niggas in my timeline that I'll get the bat signal when that shit comes back.
The bat signal.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll get the bat signal when that shit comes back.
Someone post his account. Someone post his fucking like. Fuck, what is it? Not Arknights. That's a whole other thing. Someone post his girl's front. No, it's not girl's front line either. Battleship Girl, whatever thing with Bob it is. Post his account. I didn't see.
No, you
I
can't.
See this shit.
You know how like if you take an addict off of cocaine, like you get the withdrawal, you might kill him. Like that might actually be the end.
Oh my
you know
God.
What I mean?
But no, his wife knows that he said that the wife knows everything. Like she'd be able to finish it in the case that if he passed away. And then I think there was an
do you trust? I don't trust any of this shit.
I mean, I don't really trust anyone, but at least I want to know, like, okay, nigga, so where was this going? Where was the end? Like, how are we just gonna end this? Because at this point, I don't want to watch the Chimera Ant arc anymore. Like, it's not that I don't enjoy it.
There's like 60 chapters or whatever, 40 chapters of the stuff that comes after that's really fucking cool.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. No, that's the thing. I don't want to rewatch it because every time I rewatch it, I'm automatically just like, and then there's no.
You could read up to where we're at. There's some, bro. Oh my God.
You told me that, but there's
Hisoka Krollo. Oh, it's worth it just for that alone.
You said there's the fight between Hisoka and Homeboy happens, right?
Yeah, Krollo. Yeah, like that shit is baller. Oh my God. They should just make a move. They should do like a Hunter x Hunter movie and just have it just be that little mini arc.
Well, you know what? I would prefer for them to just make movies out the next arcs. Like compilate. I feel like what they did with Persona 3 is perfectly applicable for a lot of other shit. Where they did movies. They didn't do like the series. They did Persona 3 movies and they all released over like a span of like 3 to 4 years or something like that, or 2 to 3 years. And it was great. Like every movie ended where it should have ended. And by the end of it, I didn't feel overwhelmed by anything. And it was easy to recommend to people. Basically like, if you want the full story, just watch all these movies in a row. Easy done. Boom, bam. You don't have to spend like 6+ hours for one season.
Also, if you want, like, if anyone's looking for like another some fucking deep cuts, just go on Yutaka Nakamura's like Mal page or network page. Just watch everything he ever did. You could get. I was shocked. You know, there's a series. I don't know if you ever heard of Angelic Layer. He was like. Yeah, I love me some Angelic Layer. I did not realize he did key animation for that series. I started thinking sometimes about all the shit that is in my own personal like all-time list or things that I really loved growing up, and I find out this motherfucker was behind like half of it in some form or fashion. Is fucking wild. So that's another thing. Go track that man down. Anything he did key animation on is worthwhile. It's worthwhile.
All right.
This man did Getter Robo. I was yelling at my friend about that series.
Oh, that's what I was supposed to. I added Razafons. I'm actually gonna fucking.
Ooh, yeah, no, that's it right there.
Go and just
that's it right there.
Because I don't know, for some reason it's been on my mind. I think someone didn't ask me about it. I think someone asked for a recommendation and I recommended it to them, and I was like, I haven't watched this, but I heard it's really great.
Yeah,
and someone was asking for another mecha, and I was like, we should go watch this.
That, I think, to me, I draw a hard line at like Rasefon, and like there's a couple other series that are from around like that same time period as like the last of the Evangelion era of mecha shows, where like all these studios were trying to recapture that same scope, scale, and emotional resonance. It wasn't until like all the Studio Trigger stuff dropped and like mecha anime kind of fell out of favor, and what people were trying to do was like more in line with that than Ava. Like, I feel like Ava sucked the soul out of mecha anime because nobody was willing to go quite that crazy. Anyway,
and that's what people were expecting.
Yeah, or like it was a arbitrary bar in the community where like you would put something out and like, but is it better than Evangelion? Well, it's like almost as good in these places. It's like, no, bro, you fucked up the game. It's over. And then now what's wild to me is people who didn't grow up with it, they just hear about it and they just think it sucks. They're like, Ava's overrated. I'm like, nigga, you can't call something overrated when the entire industry like reformed itself around all of the standards and tropes and ideas that were from that show. You cannot say that anymore. It's like Naruto's overrated. Oh, really? How many niggas tried to copy that shit? It ain't. Also, I need Hell's Lost Paradise. I need that shit
Wait,
like,
Hell's Lost Paradise. Oh, the show,
yeah,
the show.
I need that shit right now.
Is that this fall or summer?
Yeah, it is. It would have been perfect this season. Could you imagine Spy Family and that show together? Like,
yeah.
Oh, it would be what a season it would be.
Well, I feel like a lot of the like summer and fall is gonna be fucking slammed. I feel.
Yeah, it's gonna be stupid.
Chainsaw Man's coming, so
it's gonna be so fucking stupid.
Yeah. So yeah, we need a season to chill. So I'm going to chill this season. I'm gonna work on my fruits basket shit. Get caught up, do a little movie, whatever, blah 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 blah. I got Made in Abyss movie I gotta watch before the summer comes, God. And I lose my. I'm gonna.
You're just trying to rip your own guts out.
I'm gonna do it. Well, I almost got spoiled on something. Like someone was like, and then in the movie went, I was like, all right, nigga, just watch it. Just your sign. Just get it out the way. Do it. So I am going, and y'all will know when I do it because I'm definitely gonna come on here and bitch and basically be like, I can't believe that they would do this and animate this and blah 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 blah. But we will see when that occurs. But yeah, I can't decide if I want to like download like God of High School chapters on my phone and like try to read it on the treadmill. But I feel like it's too much and I need to focus. So I'm like, I don't know. But all I want to do is just like read it. I kind of just want to be like, yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm done with everything. I'm just going to get in my bed with my iPad and be like, I'm just reading God of High School. Like, we're done.
I mean,
day is over. Shower, bed, God of High School, sleep. Like, that's all I want to do right now. Because I want to get to the Wukong part so that I can get beyond that and start getting like, who is this? Oh shit, who is this?
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's wild. I guess that's about it. I would give a shout out, I know that you're a New York native, but you're not. A, you're not living in New York, and B, you don't care about the sports ball. But I just gotta give a shout out to my Boston Celtics right now because they are just running through the nets. They're just running through the nets. People are sad on the timeline.
Sporty balls, no.
Yep, okay. I know that ain't your thing, but just
so wait, are they just are they dominating everybody, or is it just like they're just?
It's playoff time, and
Brooklyn, it's playoff time.
It's playoff time, and people were shouting out Brooklyn at the beginning of the year, and they're about to get swept.
Wait, niggas aren't getting shot in the streets, are they, over this shit?
No. More like it's more like folks go wild on NBA Twitter, just roasting the Nets. Just roasting.
Wait, is this part of the? What are those teams? What do they call those teams where people like make up their own personal team?
Maybe like fantasy sports.
Yeah, fantasy sports.
If someone's playing fantasy with Nets players, this right now they're not happy. But I just want to give a shout out to my other sports ball people, because off to the side, like I keep seeing like stuff pop up on my timeline related to this game, and it's not looking good for Brooklyn.
Oh my God! Speaking of timelines, God knows how long Twitter is gonna be around. But...
I mean, that's a whole other. Situation.
I mean, it'll be around, but
it'll just be something else. Whatever's happening, it'll just be something else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen, people migrate to fucking social platforms. Look at what happened to Tumblr. I'm expecting that to happen to Twitter.
Whoa, that's a death sentence you're looking at.
Well, I mean, listen, if that's what he wants to do, he's just an insecure billionaire. It's only a matter of time before he does something. And well, that's not this one now. Anyways. Thank y'all for watching. If you haven't already or listening, make sure you go check us out on anime_savants on Twitter, Anime Savants on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Dick Fight Island clips posted. So I'm just letting y'all know it's from the last episode. I'm gonna try to space them out, like. We have 22 clips from the recent episode.
I'm still upset you told me there's an actual story underneath this.
I mean, each island has its own culture. Like, yeah, okay, but so yeah, y'all, it's just there's a lot of hooping and hollering from that. And some crazy quotables that like, oh my God, I literally was like, fuck, I can't not clip this. Like shit.
Oops.
So yeah, if you see us on your timeline, I'm not gonna, retweet the shit, okay?
Hey, yeah, let's get those impressions up, man. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Also, we did post the thing about collabing with us as far as being a guest on the show. So if you didn't see that post on Twitter, make sure you hit us in the inbox. You can DM us, hit us at, animesavants@gmail.com, Instagram, on the TikTok or whatever. Let us know. I will see it eventually and I will get back to you. But, we trying to schedule things, so it might not happen immediately, but we can definitely make it work.
Yep, and you can hit me up personally anytime on Twitter at Neural Handshake. We just keeping it easy. We're gonna ride into this next week with no controversy, no wild shit, nobody going wild. Just
it's Monday and it's already a shit show.
Nah,
so
bro. Don't let Elon Musk win. Okay, let's bring the temperature
Trump,
down.
It's over.
I know.
It's over.
Let's just put a lid on this this energy for a little bit.
It's gonna be chaos.
But yeah, other than that, peace out, y'all.
Bye.